Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football postgame show. And before we get to the Monday night game, I forgot to let you know that the Baltimore Ravens beat the uh, LA Chargers at SoFi Stadium. Number one on Sunday Night Football, 20-10. And Baltimore kind of just it was started out as a low-scoring game, but then Baltimore down it, and Chargers got the lead in half, but they just could not get the victory. So I wanted to let you know that. Last night's Monday night game. The Chicago Bears finally won one of these up for grab games after all those painful finishes. Uh, Cario Santos made a 30-yard field goal with 10 seconds left, his fourth of the night, after a miss on the opening drive. And the Bears had four interceptions off Joshua Dobbs, and the defense dominated 12-10 victory over the Minnesota Vikings on Monday. Proud of everyone for fighting to the end, no matter what. Justin Fields, who lost two fumbles in the fourth quarter before a 3rd and 10 completion to DJ Moore for 36 yards. Put the ball at the 13 with 55 seconds left to set up the winning kick. The Bears go to 4-8 on the season, stopped a 12-game NFC North losing streak, including 6 in a row against the Vikings, who fall to 6-6, and they're going to have to start winning if they want to make the playoffs. The Minnesota Vikings, so if they want that an NFC wild card spot, they got to win. Uh, he came back like a true leader does. Somebody on the rise as a young quarterback. They just block that out and make it that throw, said Moore, who had 11 catches for 114 yards. The Vikings, who cautiously chose to hold star wide receiver Justin Jefferson out for another game with his hamstring injury, were as helpless as ever on offense, with only a field goal by Greg Joseph at the end of the first half to show for the first 54 plus minutes. Dobbs threw the go-ahead score to TJ Hodgkinson, Hawkinson, with 5:54 left, but the Vikings stalled out again after that, and the worst possible time. After Fields rumbled for a first down, Josh Metellus uh, uh, jarred the ball loose that Anthony Barr recovered at the Chicago 43. The Vikings ran for no gain and 1 yard before a screen pass lost 1 yard. Then Ryan Wright sailed his punt out of bounds, netting just 26 yards, and the Bears had the ball at their 22 instead of being pinned deep. Only 59 seconds came off the clock. Uh, uh, the Bears, who blew a 12-point lead with about 3 minutes left last week in defeat at Detroit, forced four turnovers for the second straight game. Jalen Johnston, Jaquan Brisker, T.J. Edwards, and Kyler Gordon had the interceptions. 3 off deflected balls. Turnovers really control the game, so it starts with me and taking care of the football with my decision making, Dobbs said. No matter what happens on the other end, it's giving the receiver a good ball and getting the ball where it needs to go based on the coverage. I acknowledge it. I'm frustrated with myself. Uh, Gordon's diving grab with 12:32 to go and a 9-3 lead gave the Bears the ball at the Minnesota 38. But 5 plays later, Danielle Hunter, whose takedown of Fields in Chicago on October 15th, uh, dislocated the quarterback's thumb and sidelined him for the next 5 games. Dislodged the ball during a sack that Sheldon Day recovered at the Minnesota 23. We love the game on us, Gordon said. We want to be the ones to close the game out and be clutch. The Vikings went the other way in 8 plays for only their second drive of more than 30 yards all game, and the Bears were in danger of another late collapse, but they became just the third team in the NFL uh, in the last 20 years to go without a touchdown, multiple turnovers, and 50 plus penalty yards, according to Sport Radar. Defense, I feel like we played lights out. Bears safety Eddie Jackson said, We've just got to continue to get better when it comes to finishes. Dobbs had a double time of finding a rhythm after sparking the Vikings to two victories after Kirk Cousins went down with a torn Achilles tendon. Dobbs had a much tougher time the last two games. Has had a much tougher time the last two games. Excuse me. Uh, the backflips during the BMX freestyle bike show at halftime actually accounted for the bulk of highlights, but only for the people in the building not in line for the bathrooms or concessions. The ESPN audience night might well have preferred the matchup to be switched out under the flexible scheduling policy. Uh, The Bears are giving Fields the 11th overall pick in the 2021 draft. A close look over the final month plus of the season before determining whether to move forward with him as the quarterback with the long term status of the coaching staff. Simultaneously muddled. Yeah, the game plan in the first half looked like it was devised uh, precisely as an audition for Fields, frequently dropping him back in the pocket against the aggressive, unorthodox pressures directed by Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores. Fields went 12 for 12 for 100 yards in the first quarter, and while he took 3 sacks, he never made a bad throw while finishing 27 for 37 for 217 yards. When Flores sent a zero blitz with 7 rushers on 4th and 10 from the Minnesota 38 on the last play of the first quarter, Fields managed to find uh, tight end Cole Komet sneaking uncovered over the middle for a 22-yard gain. That set up the first half field goal by Santos, who missed a 48-yard try on the first drive. Now, there were some injuries. The Bears defensive end Yannick uh, Ngakoue left in the fourth quarter with leg cramps. Vikings cornerback Caleb Evans had a calf injury and was inactive, and Mekhi Blackman started in his place. So up next, after for the Bears after the Week 13 bye, they will host the Detroit Lions on December 10th. And for the Vikings, after the bye is next, followed by a visit to Las Vegas on December 10th. So they'll have some work to do, the Vikings, if they want to get the win over the Raiders in Las Vegas. But I have to give the game balls to the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, 27 of 37 carries and attempts, 217 yards. He didn't have a touchdown or an interception. He did not in the passing part. For the receiving part, but rushing part, 59 yards and 12 attempts. He didn't have a touchdown in either one. And DJ Moore, 114 yards and 11 receptions. So this was one of those games where it was very low scoring, and it was based on a lot of field goals, this game. So, this really Bears really got a much deserved victory and finally snapped that NFC North losing skid. And for the Vikings, they're going to need to really do some work if they want to get that NFC wildcard spot. So now we move to Week 13, and we got some great action coming up. Thursday Night Football to kick off Week 13. The Seattle Seahawks are in Big D to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Then on Sunday, the Los Angeles Chargers are in Foxborough to take on the Patriots at Gillette Stadium, and the Detroit Lions are in New Orleans to take on the Saints at Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. The Atlanta Falcons are at MetLife Stadium to take on the Jets in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The Arizona Cardinals are at Azteca Stadium in Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Indianapolis Colts are in Tennessee to take on the Titans at Nissan Stadium. Miami is in Washington to take on the Commanders at FedEx Field. The Denver Broncos are in Houston to take on the Houston Texans at NRG Stadium. The Carolina Panthers are at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks. And the San Francisco 49ers are in Philadelphia to take on the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. The Browns are at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California to take on the Rams. Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs are at legendary Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin to take on the Green Bay Packers. And Monday Night Football, the Bengals are at TIA Bank Field in Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Baltimore, Buffalo, Chicago, Las Vegas, and Minnesota and the New York Giants are all on bye weeks this week. So we shall see what happens. That's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football post-game show. I'll be back with the Thursday Night Football pregame show on Thursday to kick off Thursday Night Football. And then the post-game show to follow after the game. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.